Hello. It's Rojo. I never know how to start these. It doesn't matter. Hi. We're going to be looking at Team Liquid versus FlyQuest. This is actually um, the start of the LCS week for week 8, I think is where we're at. Or at least right now, in the current me time. This was recorded, or this was played last week. I kind of wanted to let a few games simmer before I went into them. So that I'm more open to I'm not sure to so that I have a more unbiased opinion, so I don't just walk into one of these and I just know what happens and immediately without having to think about it and just remember everything that happened. Um, so plus I was doing other things. So as is tradition, we're gonna spend an hour on the draft, and by that I mean we're just gonna look at the matchups and everything. We're not gonna the bans are not super relevant here. We're just going to be looking at what they've chosen to pick, and just assume that every pick was perfectly chosen at the exact time that it should be chosen. So we're going to start with top lane. Kennen. Kennen is a strong AoE mid game champion. AP doesn't scale super well, but spikes earlier than a lot of champions. Does decently. Renekton is very strong on one item and tapers off almost immediately after level 11, or really starts to feel really bad once he's behind. So once if he's on neutral ground or ahead, he feels really good. If he's on neutral ground and then after a certain point or to a certain point he feels good, and then starts to fall off after that point, regardless of what happens. If he starts falling behind, then he feels it's even worse, because then there's no point where he actually spikes beyond what the opposing um, team capable of. Volibear is interesting. We're also going to look at Set. These two champions have become very, 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 very prevalent in the LCS. Basically perma-picked or banned, especially in the jungle role. And it feels as though this is a result of um, jungle players just gravitating towards these picks, or not even necessarily because it's the best for the composition. If you just look, Volibear doesn't actually help this comp accomplish much. You could argue that it helps Kennen, but then Kennen and Volibear doesn't help these three other champions. And Set, likewise, helps his top laner, kind of, but then doesn't really help the carries on the team. He does help the Rakan, but um, we'll get there. So these are two run at you, dive oriented champions. I mean, there's not really much to say. They're farmers. They're opportunistic gankers who, if someone screws up in a lane, they're really good at taking care of that problem. Otherwise, it's up in the air whether they're actually effective. But regardless, they're being picked consistently, very, very early in these drafts. Obviously, Set has reasons for it. He is a triflex. Volibear is slightly different in that maybe he could be picked support, but he's not. He just isn't. So he's really only a dual flex, right? But he doesn't change the way that he plays. At least with Set going support, you could argue that you're creating some sort of higher. He does what he does, but because he can be a support, he does it on lower income, which means that you can have other champions that require higher income to do more than what they would normally be able to do. Or I guess to do what they normally do, but Set just does what he already does anyway, he just has less income. It feels weird. It feels stale, almost, like they don't know what actually the jungle role is supposed to do. Not to say that I have the answer to that, but it just feels like they're not looking for the answer. They've chosen, okay, well, we're just gonna have melee range, run at you champions as the jungle picks, and then we'll go from we'll just construct from there. And it doesn't even necessarily seem as though these picks are being synergized with the rest of the teams around them. I mean, there's some synergy, you could argue. You're going to have dive buddies here, you have dive buddies here. And you do have Rakan for the dive, for extra. But that doesn't. But your carries are playing at range. They're specifically designed to outrange players or outrange opponents, and keep them from getting onto them. So think of it this way: if you had these three against these two, it would take them being super strong, these three being super strong, for these two to die. Or very highly coordinated. Because they'll just CC them or front to back them. And then presumably, assuming that these are not on their team, they're going to have other champions around them that will protect them from the same ID. It's weird. The jungle role is weird right now. There are several champions that are viable, but it feels stale in that there's Volibear, there's Trundle, there's Olaf, there's Lee Sin sparsed in there every so often, and then first, those are all AD basically, all melee range, all focused at running at an opponent. It feels wrong for the role to effectively be stuck in one basic mode, because they don't actually add that much more to their team, right? Like, the mid. Also, I guess we can talk about the. I didn't touch on the. This is why it takes 30 minutes. We didn't touch on the actual matchup. Uh, I would imagine that Kennen does well in this matchup. But now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure this was picked up late in the draft. It doesn't matter. The It's probably closer to a skill matchup, but I feel like Kennen just gets the better end of it because he actually brings a lot to his team, or he brings more to his team than Renekton does. And then I mean this is whatever. The jungle role is the junglers are fine. They're not gonna actually interact with each other. They're beefy. They're not gonna try to hurt each other. It doesn't matter. They're fine. Mid lane. I believe this is a skill matchup, or potentially an RNG matchup with the Zoe. Depending on what she can grab with her. Her W. Whatever. Is there? What is it? The thing where she gets the bubbles. Depending on what bubbles she gets, maybe it becomes really in her favor. But pretty sure this is mostly a skill matchup. I can't imagine that they actually have any legitimate kill pressure on each other. They're probably gonna both be going spellbook, or maybe Orianna goes phase rush. I think she might go phase rush in this. I don't necessarily think she needs to. but sure. Because I don't know what she's trying to outrun. I mean, sure, maybe that's. But then she also needs to hit whatever. Um, Bottom lane, we're gonna look at them together as a duo. Ignar, I mean, he's just like stuck on Rakan, so it's fine. Core JJ on the Bard. I feel like Bard Ezreal has an advantage over uh, Ashe Rakan due to the extra range from the support, and because he can more negate the damage that raids might happen on. I don't. I mean, as a whole, right? You look at this whole thing, right? And what lane is FlyQuest winning? Is it not bottom? Not really. I mean, this is kind of even. This is even. Pretty sure this is favored. So they just. It feels like it's they're already at a disadvantage from the start of the game. And when you look at the champions that they have in Set and Renekton and Rakan, the start of the game is really important for their effectiveness. Because if they're not in the lead or comfortable enough to exert themselves, to be aggressive, they're gonna not be able to do anything. Now, if we look at the congruency of these compositions, I've already touched on the fact that these three champions do not make sense with these two champions because they're not actually defensive in nature. These are all aggressive um, champions that will dive, that will go in, that will try to disrupt opponents, but they don't help Ashe survive. They don't help Orianna survive. On the flip side, let's look at the same core. You actually have Bard, who can create aggressive plays, but also set up um, as a defensive uh, option by being around his carries and preventing people from running into them. As well, Tempered Fate allows him to lock down targets. You have two immobile targets here, and if these two dive in, then these guys aren't actually accomplishing anything in the dive anyway. They get Tempered Fate, and then these guys get systematically destroyed by the rest of Team Liquid. So it's offensive and defensive. And then Kennen and Volibear. Kennen does have some defensive properties. Volibear does have some defensive properties, but they're not necessarily. That's not the way that they necessarily want to play. That's not their normative play pattern. Kennen is oftentimes looking for uh, the flank around to get a good multi-man maelstrom. Volibear doesn't really have anyone to sit around because his carries are fairly mobile, not immobile, mobile. So he's actually going to be looking to be fairly aggressive. But in the case of Volibear, I can't imagine that he's actually going to be able to accomplish anything because if he goes in, he gets demolished by all of these champions. None of these targets, 4 targets he doesn't want to actually dive into, and he's never going to be able to kill Renekton. So he has literally no job. He just doesn't have a job. He's just there. Kennen, on the other hand, at least has the Maelstrom. Zoe and Ezreal are a poking core that allows them to keep opponents away, and then the Temper Fate can come out to get rid of targets or to delay objectives, control the situations that they're in. Whereas what FlyQuest really want to do is be fairly aggressive in the mid game and use. I mean, Because I mean, Orianna does have defensive properties, right? So maybe she puts a ball on Renekton, and then he's unlocked to be super strong, right? I don't know. I actually don't know what their plan is. Um, they're actually pretty decently strong at one item. So FLYQuest have this one item. That's supposed to be the number one. A one item uh, spike across the board, pretty much. It depends on what Arvival builds actually, because there are options. He could go the Seraph's build, um, which would be able to kind of mitigate poke and mitigate the Maelstrom. Because now, I mean, there's a limit to the amount of damage that uh, Impact can deal on Kennen, and if he just sets up a Seraph's Embrace shield, he just tanks it, and now he maybe loses 10% of his health. Maybe. But there is a bit of danger in the immobile Ashe, who has the only defensive property is that she can kite people out, but she can't really kite Kennen. But Kennen is useless once he doesn't have Maelstrom. So a lot of responsibility on Team Liquid will be on the Ezreal, on the Bard. Zoe has a bit, and Kennen. There's a lot of shared responsibility. Volibear is basically in a responsibility vacuum. He has no responsibility whatsoever. He supports them, and then when they want to dive, he makes the dive slightly easier. He like mitigates 3 tower shots or something. That's his job. But Kennen, there's a lot of shared responsibility in them. But Kennen probably has the most because he needs to actually be threatening. If he misuses the Maelstrom or if he can't get a good flank, the fights might be pretty bad. But because of the way that FlyQuest had to fight into them, it might not actually be that difficult for him to get these good ultimates. And he might not even have to flank. He actually can just stay defensively around these 3 and protect them and go forward when he needs to with Proto Belts or Flash. Anything else? Anything else? What about their one item? They're actually Team Liquid do not have as much congruency in terms of their item, builds because Kennen wants to hit one item and then he wants to start steamrolling from there, because he is a Proto Belt champion. Volibear, not a factor. Zoe, similar place, but she does because she's a mage. Her itemization is pretty good. She can keep going, and she'll just keep getting stronger and stronger. But tactical for sure on Ezreal does not want to have to fight on one item because one item is when Ken finishes that Proto Belt, he's gonna be sitting on like a Manamune and a Sheen, which is not exactly prepared to fight kind of items. I think that this is definitely an Iceborne game for tactical due to the AD that he's going to be harassed with by the 2 dive champions. But maybe, depending on what you're looking for, you go for the Triforce because it adds more oomph during the mid game, and Kennen wants to actually be impactful during that time of the game. So even though there is utility, there's a lot of utility gained from the Iceborne against these champions, he might go Triforce because he wants to add as much damage as possible when they're actually bound to fight, rather than later in the game when Orianna might be able to pop off. Orianna and Ashe, frankly, can pop off. So I mean, Ezreal kind of brings down the itemization for Team Liquid, but overall it should be. I have this thing where the aesthetics the physical aesthetics of a team composition like impacts the way I look at it, or it might be the opposite, where the way I think about their drafts actually impacts the way I look at their aesthetics. Regardless, uh, I personally believe that this is the better um, team and better composition, solely because 3 champions are effectively worthless on FlyQuest, as long as they don't get massively ahead. Go.
For forever now, but you're right. The set can still kind of provide that impact and throw him right back in.
Legendary, yeah.
Mm.
Oh, Ignar. Can you go pop those? Pop the button. Got one. All right, success. Now go back to base and heal before you
So
go.
CoreJJ did the thing where he tries to impact the mid lane
like
using the
Everybody
shrine that he sets up as Bard. This actually makes the early levels fairly different for mid lane because it allows Jensen to play more aggressively and uses his health to trade off against the opposing champion's mana.
Solo trying to make a pair of gator shoes out of him. We'll see what happens.
Basically, he gets like a free potion when he does that, which is super valuable in the early levels. Allows it to be a little more aggressive and establish priority. Okay. So they know Brox's pathing. They do not know Santorin's pathing.
Think he'll be looking to counter where Santorin's going to move, or will Brox be making the first move with the lanes he has?
So if I had Fog of War on and I didn't see Santorin starting topside and swapping like this, for me Broxa, the one thing
I don't think that this is super lopsided in either direction, by the way. Just that it would benefit. I think it benefits Kennen more in lane because he can keep Renekton away from him. As long as he spaces well, he can basically never be touched.
That's one of the main goals for your team's jungler, because
like that.
The Renekton gets the opportunity.
Looks like that.
To all in
so Zoe is pushing forward. You notice no corrupting potions have been popped. They're both completely full basically. Our people did use a bit of mana, but the lane is pushing in Zoe's favor.
To sustain early on. So he's doing just that. Look at the mini map. He went right up there.
Santorin went. Looks.
Solo did have a defensive ward.
Yeah, it was red into blue. Yeah, red, blue into Gromp. Red, blue, Gromp, Wolves, Raptors, and might look to path. I mean, from this position, he's closest, obviously, to the top side crab, but he may not be able to based on how this is going. So he might want to switch over to the bottom side because the bottom side is actually pushing currently, or at least in this current frame.
Jungle pressure on impact, because so that's one of the main goals for your team's jungler, because if
so he actually might be taking the Raptors so that it's not an easy transition to go from the Scuttle Crab for Broxa into his Raptors.
Then that is what brings down your top side of the map and brings down one of the.
Brox is actually threatening Renekton, so he might not even be able to. Yeah, he can't do anything. Santorin has to cross down into. Is he choosing not to? He's choosing to fight this.
Solo actually, maybe they weren't alerted because here we go, skirmish.
They're choosing to fight this. Wait, he almost just solo killed him. He actually. Wait, he just solo killed him.
Once very early, I should say.
What?
And then the cooldowns are there.
I believe they're alerted to Brox's presence before it timed out. Solo actually, maybe they weren't alerted because here we go, skirmish.
That's Mark the Storm's off. That means Impact won't be able to lock him down for much longer. And Impact's forced to flash. Kenny can only
okay, so that's all Brox's fault, by the way. I just want to make mention of that. I wanted that to be known that is entirely Brox's fault. And the reason is because unless we're going to assume that Impact would do this regardless of the situation, but I'm 90% sure that he kind of baited himself into a situation because of Brox's pathing. Because Broxa was looking for the play. When Broxa could have just done the Gromp and done the crab. Or even more accurately, he could have done his red, Krugs, Raptors, Wolves, Gromp, blue, crab, topside crab, while Santorin traded for bottom crab. And then maybe he could look for something on the Krugs. But instead he went for this bizarre thing that cost Kennen flash, teleport, and life. So that's not good. That's not good. I would have to see that. I'd have to listen to the comms, obviously, to establish who actually made this play happen. But it's very doubtful in my mind that Impact would just effectively walk into Renekton without reason.
Very.
And Santorin actually gets to double crab, by the way, because of this.
Is the pain point of
Because Orianna and because the now the wave pushed downward.
Impact there. Oh,
Uh,
I actually want to
thanks to Orianna's levels and ability to push the wave.
I would also want to hear the comms because that was Broxa spending a lot of time.
I'm not sure what Santorin is doing here.
And
What's he doing?
the reason Solo stayed
He should just be
there
going for the bottom
is
scuttle. What is he
because
doing?
Got up and took such a bad trade. I believe
What am I
it must
watching?
have been like, okay, I'm baiting
Am
you,
I?
you know,
I must be
one kill, but
missing something very valuable.
not feed the alligator.
What are the junglers doing?
Dangerous.
What is it? You gotta get 4 auto attacks up. Your Thundering Shurikens are 8-ish, 9 seconds to start, and your Lightning Rush is actually pretty long to start too. So, knowing that Solo can just keep.
Wait, he doesn't go for because he wasted time. He doesn't get double scuttle.
Some miscommunication there to start things off, and that's
He doesn't get to defend his bottom side.
your laner has any type of
What am I?
advantage,
What
usually
happened?
you just
What was that
really
sequence?
dove and dove, and you have to stay
Why
in
did
the
they
game.
make those choices?
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about how scared.
Why did Broxa just get that for free?
The enemy set jungle ganks up there and Renekton gets it.
Right.
Wait,
It's even worse if he gets that solo. and
I don't
now they
understand.
have a flash. Both of them have been traded, so they really
The last
need to keep eyes
2
on
minutes.
Santorin to make sure
I don't think there's anything I could do to go back and understand it further.
Aggressively, you can see that
I'm just bewildered.
when his rage bar is full to try and threaten impact. He wants to shove this wave in so he can try and bounce back.
Okay, so now Renekton is gonna have control over this lane.
Still just sitting on the Doran's blade, and wants to go get that little extra advantage. For me, I would love to see a Blade of the Ruined King rush because that
Power of Evil is going the Saris route, by the way.
He is going with the Black Cleaver. You know, it's more all
Again, this does
focus.
mitigate
You get
the
the
damage from
boost
Kennen. This does
earlier
mitigate
because
the
your
potential
phage
poke
component just gives it to you.
that can be
And
put down
the
on
issue with
on
phage
Orianna.
is upon killing a minion. Oh, never mind.
Whoa! Wait! Whoa! What?
Cheeky from Tactical. He might have put
What am I?
himself in a
What
bit of
is
danger to
happening?
shift forward like that. I liked it until he almost died. Oh, he gives the cheeky. face.
What?
We're good.
No way! What is the logic?
Strategy with
Go ahead,
the
tell me
phage
what it is.
component
I'd
is
love to hear
upon
this.
killing a minion. Oh, never mind. We'll see an engage.
Ooh. That was cheeky from Tactical. He might have put himself in a bit of danger to shift forward like that. I liked it until he almost died. Oh, he gives the cheeky star face cat, though. We're good. Ooh.
Upon killing a minion. Oh, never mind. We'll see an engage.
Ooh. That was cheeky from Tactical. He might have put himself in a bit of danger to shift.
There were so many things wrong with just that sequence. Why did Wild Turtle use his heal? Why did Tactical E forward? What? Like, what a
Forward
game.
like that, I liked it until he
What
almost
a
died.
what a
Oh, he gives the
game.
cheeky star face cat, though. We're good. Not even close, baby.
Turtle gonna deal a decent amount on impact.
Oh man.
This is going to be pretty good for Turtle there because Tactical, as Ezreal, you usually go with your teleport.
Yeah.
And because they get to shove the wave and kind of force this, oh, they're trying to gank it so they don't get the wave control easy back here. Good job here from Broxa and CoreJJ.
CoreJJ forcing the Cosmic Binding. Wild Turtle trying to stay away from the wall, but oh, flashes what could be the Q to end his life. Also, Sleepy Trouble Bubble almost sending the rest of FlyQuest to
Is that ever gonna work? I mean, they get the flash, right?
Shove the wave and kind of force this. Oh, they're trying to gank it so they don't get the wave control easy back here. Good job here from Broxa and CoreJJ.
CoreJJ forcing the Cosmic Binding. Wild Turtle trying to stay away from the wall, but oh, flashes what could be the Q to end his life. Also, Sleepy Trouble Bubble almost sending the rest of FlyQuest.
This should be Dragon.
They'll get away from Jensen and the rest of
Not
TL.
Dragon.
So a double attack towards
It's
the
gonna be a
bot
full
side.
clear
FlyQuest
from Volibear. Looks like.
This is exactly what I was.
Wait, what did wait? I don't. Hold on.
This is gonna be
Because I lost track of
minion. But
how they.
going with the Black Cleaver. Try and threaten impact.
Okay, he went.
This wave in so he can try and
Wait, why is Broxa still on the map? What? There's so many things. What? Okay, hold on. Hold on. It's maybe I'll just think about it logically for a second. Hold on. Okay. So Broxa gets gifted bottom scuttle, perfectly fine. Then he decides to go to his wolves, back, do a gank, go to Krugs. Hopefully by this point, or I guess no, the Raptors must have respawned by this point, right?
So they really
Yeah. He did Raptors as well. So
to make sure it's not going to be any sort of follow-up.
he's severely behind tempo as a result of this.
For his slice and dice when his rage bar is full to try and threaten impact. He wants to shove this wave in so he can try and
So he gets to go. He kills Gromp. He gets to, due to the shenanigans that Santorin played out, he gets to get bottom scuttle. Raptors, wolves, backs, goes down back to bottom lane. Santorin can't actually do anything because of the Grav Vision, and he doesn't necessarily know how Volibear played it.
Ooh, that was cheeky from Tactical. He might have put himself in a bit of danger to shift forward like that. I liked it until he almost died. Oh, he gives the cheeky star.
I think even with the Scuttle Vision, I don't think Santorin's able to get Dragon. Maybe.
This is gonna be pretty good for.
I mean, after that play, if he was actually there and he got the bottom scuttle, he probably he probably actually can. But
and because they get to shove the wave and kind of force this, oh, they're trying to gank it so they don't get the wave control easy back here. Good job here from Broxa and CoreJJ.
CoreJJ forcing the Cosmic Binding. Wild Turtle trying to stay away from the wall, but oh, flash.
Maybe not because of the it's dicey. Probably not actually the case.
Almost sending the rest.
The Dragon's probably not
they'll get away from Jensen and the rest of
available.
TL. So a double attack towards the bot side. FlyQuest make it out.
And Solo can just proxy the wave.
This is exactly what I was talking about, Kobe.
That's unfortunate because of
this is what
the
Kennen in the top lane.
Kennen is just completely blocked away from all experience.
They saw the jungler bottom side.
And Santorin is here to back up Solo.
They will be spotted on the ward.
Impact just lost an entire wave, by the way. He just doesn't have that experience.
They pulled up CoreJJ, fighting the mid lane as well. As TL is trying to repair the map, Jensen could be going down with CoreJJ backing. Ignite finds a chance to roam. And CoreJJ now is going to be roaming through the river, roaming through the jungle, making sure that at least Impact's a little safer. Kobe, you were saying this was Brox's job. Now it's becoming a team job.
Nice little.
I feel like you don't actually need to do that if Solo doesn't decide to proxy the wave. You don't actually need Santorin to do that, and you can create the pressure. You actually use that pressure top lane, and the movement from Ignar top, or not top, but towards mid to get the dragon, don't you? Because you go from you can go from Raptors and hit up mid lane with Ignar. Oh, it didn't work. Whatever. And I'm sure with Santorin it might actually work. But then you can transition down into Dragon.
Just trying to play that long game.
Right?
Ezreal has the big spike, obviously,
Because look what he's doing. He could have done that before.
2 core items.
He's completely,
Really
yeah.
tough to get.
Okay, he's not actually
We were talking about this in Academy on
stopping
Thursday
Cannon
as
from
well.
getting this
It's
because
kind of turned
not
into
standing
this
in front of the
gentleman's
minions.
agreement of, okay, you farm, I farm. I'm not
So
gonna
Jensen's
back
really
you
good. Look at
those
that.
stars
Look
in
at that.
my tier so we can all scale. If you're gonna get called too, that sounds
GLP,
good. I'll grab a call.
pretty good.
It's just waiting to pocket all this money and then use it all on some big objective fights for the dragons, like you were saying before.
Yeah, and so that means Turtle got to keep
Okay.
your eyes open for opportunities.
So
to
everything's
find the
been
Ash Arrow. If you can
normalized
get something down
again,
here,
except for
you know,
top
push
lane.
it
Top lane's
forwards,
a
the
mess
Fusion Infernal
for
Drake
TL.
definitely, a little bit
Not sure
more
how they
powerful, more
can.
popular.
I don't even know if it's
People are gonna
salvageable,
try and force
frankly.
something on bottom half of the map, and if you have a top lane advantage, like they do with solo, it's not like, oh, you know, top lane's only an island if you can't do anything to help out with that dragon. Solo has full control of the
Okay,
minion wave,
so
so
now we're
you
actually
can take a
past
slow push to create a good
both
connecting minion wave on
the
top side and
dragon
force
respawn,
something
not
of
respawn, but
another
dragon spawn
objective
and
onto Team Rojo
herald
and
spawn.
go down and
TL have
kill
no
our
response. They're
minion
just
wave
there's
with
no way that
those
they're actually
objectives.
going for herald. Or JJ's is dead.
Doesn't look like he's gonna make it out of this one alive. Ignar with the battle dance back to give a little bit of a
Okay,
shield
so this
to his team.
this
and
is Dragon.
Splitter will miss. As FlyQuest is going to walk their way out of this one. A bit of pressure for that Drake, but they still have to
This
be
is
careful.
Dragon, and they should be able to transition into Herald for free because there's just no way that Impact is going to feel capable of affecting that.
The Ash Arrow constantly, you know. He's seeing that Cole tier Ezreal. He's like, all right, we need to fight here now.
As soon as Core JJ actually hits up,
Santorin gets in there with the flash. They pull him back, and that's going to be
this
Dragon
is
as
free.
well.
What is?
Uh-oh, face
What am I
breaker
watching?
back
What is
in.
going on?
Giving Brox a bit of an escape
Oh,
there. Shockwave's
he missed
going to
the
miss.
shockwave.
Flash out by Brox
Turtle's
on the fast
actually
break. JJ's now
dead.
back from the grave to deliver a bit of damage. Cosmic Binding can stop them both. They go through the magical journey, and that's
This is free.
All right, we need to fight
Hold on.
here now.
Hold on.
FlyQuest, they find
The Core JJ is level 5, by the way. He cannot use Tempered Fate.
Santorin gets in there with the flash. They pull him back, and that's going to be Dragon as well.
Okay. Okay.
uh-oh, face
Yes.
back in. They couldn't
Fine.
get Brox
Gets the flash.
a bit of an
Run
escape
away.
there. Shockwave's going to miss. Nice flash out by Brox on the fast fingers as Core JJ's now back from the grave to deliver a bit of damage. Cosmic Binding gets
But none of them actually have flash.
The magical journey, and that's Turtle going down. The shell was not hard enough. Double
Back, and that's going to be Dragon as well.
uh-oh, Facebreaker back in.
Wait. Did Santorin ult
Pull him back,
Polar Bear?
and that's going to be Dragon as well.
Yeah, he did. But they're both unstoppable during the ultimate.
Oh, Facebreaker back in. They could have given Brox a bit of an escape there. Shockwave's going to miss.
Okay,
Nice
so
flash
Santorin
by
screwed that
Brox
up.
on the fast fingers as Core JJ's now
First of all, that's not even that's not even a beneficial direction. That's toward the opposing team. That's helping Broxa get away. If he hits, even if he lands that ultimate, and Broxa doesn't use his own, he's actually pushing him that way. Maybe what happened was Volibear. I don't actually know the exact interaction for this for these two ultimates, but maybe what happened is Broxa altered his ult altered the direction of Santorin's ultimate, and so they both went this way. Maybe that's what happened. But legitimately, I think that if he just doesn't showstopper, they just walk away.
back from the grave to deliver
Because if they don't showstopper, Power of Evil still has his ultimate, and they can't do this. They can't do this whole thing because Power of Evil will just shockwave them, and they won't walk into a Orianna ball.
FlyQuest trying to get down his bot lane a little bit.
So
Yeah, nice
they
poke damage
needed to
there.
understand
To punish them on the exit.
what was
And
actually
them, yes, they do give up
their
the
goal
dragons,
in that play.
because of the early fight, but the 2 kills onto Ezreal.
Just because someone walks into you doesn't mean that they're
double item power spike here for the Merman
necessarily
plus,
trying to die.
Sheen purchase. It was an attempt.
It didn't even matter. Santorin was always on that side of him. He was always going to ult in this direction. I don't understand what that. Yeah, no.
If he does not flash that shockwave, you know, there are triumph heals that go over to FlyQuest off of the kill, and losing that 1 member, they might be able to get more people out.
I think Power of Evil needs to hold on to the shockwave, and I think that Santorin holds on to the showstopper, and it's perfectly fine. They'll be able to transition into Rift Herald without any problem.
Get more money. Look at that. Manamune purchased here, and he'll start stacking a lot quicker.
I mean, they're able to transition into Rift Herald anyway because, again, there's just no way that they think they can walk into this. But,
as Jat would say, not even happy with the 100 lane 2 kills. You know, no. as he keeps pushing himself to the limit. He'll meet Turtle back on the bot side, though, as we do see Rift Herald go over to FlyQuest. So they're going to grab a bit of map control. Now, can they use this? We haven't been back to the top side too much yet. Solo was bullying Impact quite a bit.
Okay,
And
Jensen's getting
don't
plates,
see it since that lane's already
trying
losing
to
plates. Maybe they do, so Solo
recuperate as much gold as he can individually.
It's kind of in
Gonna get a
FlyQuest,
second one. Okay.
position right now to do what they want.
Fair enough.
That. And we'll see where they choose. Where would you go with it, Kobe?
Tactical
I
actually
always
is
like mid lane,
maybe going to
but the
be
best usage of it
decently in line
is
with
obviously
where
to try and burst down a turret.
Kennen is.
There's
McKinnon's
a
actually
big
heavily
basic
stunted
area
because he
on
had to go
top
the
lane.
Seekers. He was probably going to go Seekers
Either
anyway.
kill Impact or you
but
force summoners and do damage and force him off the turret. And then in your
maybe he
push
doesn't.
with 2 people,
Maybe he doesn't go
you're
Seekers if
able
he
to
doesn't
take off 2
feel
plates
like
by hand
he's actually
and
in
use your
danger.
Rift to just annihilate with 2 damage
But
the last 2
certainly
turrets
when
because those ones
he
give
gets solo killed,
so much extra armor. And then
gonna have
you
to.
also get your
Just to
turret
yeah,
bonus,
just
extra 100
just to try to last hit
gold,
minions, he needs
as
to,
well as opening
and
up
then
the
not
map,
die when
allowing
Impact
Solo
does
to
that.
roam to
Or
affect
sorry,
the
when Solo does that.
objectives for your team.
Trying to watch Solo's ferocity here. Call the Meek.
Yeah, he's just perma pushing. It actually doesn't hurt Kennen that much.
For a bit more, as we can see, it's up above 50% now. And I'm keeping
Because he
an
can
eye
just
on
always
core
he can always
JJ
get
at this
that.
point. He journeyed
What is
to
Solo
bot
gonna do?
lane, but also
Where's he
staying
going?
in the middle of the map to be
Going-
available for wherever this rift goes.
He's going
He
2 minutes
forces
to the dragon. What am I watching?
Nix the
What did he
reason
push that wave
to
for?
take Tempered Fate to stop Herald.
I mean, the wave was already
I
pushing,
see
right?
him kind of mill
It had to
about
have
not
been.
being one heal for a bit more as we
You also get your first
Look at
turret
this.
bonus.
Yeah, I was.
Extra 150 local gold. As
He didn't have
well
a choice.
as opening up the map and allowing Solo to roam to affect the other objectives for your team.
Fair enough.
trying to watch Solo's ferocity here. Call the Meek there onto a few minions. We can get that on a champion. He healed for a bit more, as we can see it's up above 50% now. And I'm keeping an eye on core JJ at this point. He journeyed to bot lane, but also is staying in the middle of the map.
Okay. Solo has nothing to do. He
Rift goes.
sits
You
around,
can't just go back to tactical, or you
fiddles around the
completely
Ripper.
nix the reason. You take Tempered Fate to stop Herald. So I like seeing him kind of mill about, not be in one spot, so he can
Okay.
make use of that. If he can
Yeah.
find
As Riv
Santorin and
is
track him,
mentioning,
Exactly.
Bard
Honestly,
ultimate
it
can
doesn't matter
stop
where you want to use the Rift Herald. You
the
just have to use it away
Rift
from
Herald
the
charge.
Yeah. That is the goal now. As soon as you let Bard through, you have an objective to dodge him with Rift. Broxa able to kind of step up in this fight. As
Going a
true
little
shot
aggressive. A
over
minute 30
his
before.
shoulders, just
Not sure what their
missing
objective
FlyQuest.
is.
They have Turtle
Oh,
here.
they just
Might
get
be a bit of a
Wild
speed
Turtle.
up.
Flash.
Tempered Fate into the flash.
Wait a lot of position.
And it's going to be both summoners down here.
Mostly
Turtle,
fine.
so he stays safe.
Now with the stasis is gone,
Back to mid lane.
now you can just use
Yeah,
the
that's the turret going
Herald.
down in the mid lane, or at least a one
gets you
plate so
3
far.
plates. It's pretty good.
Is that correct? And it looks like they'll be able to stop
I mean, at this
one.
point,
So,
you gotta play for plates because
FlyQuest
it's
taking what they can get here,
the
knowing that
thing's gonna despawn.
TI
Also, plates are
attempt those
dying in
fights,
about
right? They're
30
trying to
seconds.
just
So
clamp down on everything
now
FlyQuest
Solo's
is doing.
just
And FlyQuest is
cutting
saying,
off
"No,
experience from
Pokey."
Kennen.
Oh, Pokey in the eye here. And just
Wild
getting-
Turtle's actually
getting
kind
these
of in
little
danger
things left
because he
and
doesn't
right.
Yeah,
necessarily
I
know.
also
And then
want
he,
Santorin
yep,
to
okay,
poke him
well
again.
scouted.
He's recalling right
It's
now.
all
He can go
fine.
take their blue side,
Team did
but
just go
Santorin
back,
actually goes for the
Poking.
recall.
setting up
Like, I definitely
for a
want
recall
him to go
reset
play
for
with
the
Solo.
dragon.
Solo's just
They should be
smashing
fine.
Impact here, bullying him back
Yeah.
between the 2 turrets.
Wow,
And
imagine
when
how
he
much
does
better
get
the
full
game
blue side
goes
jungle there,
if
you
Kennen
see
doesn't
Broxa is
get
stealing away
absolutely
from
blasted
blue
there,
side
by the
jungle,
way.
but Santorin,
That like 100, that
recall.
has
He
ruined
got-
this game.
he got an item completion or something he was
Like,
waiting on, but
100% ruined this game.
was definitely
Also,
a
if
missed
Tactical
opportunity,
doesn't
at least
uh,
where he could have
E
pushed
forward.
back.
There's a lot of weird mistakes that didn't need to happen.
20 seconds on to Ocean. This will be our second Drake of the game.
Santorin made
What
mistakes,
takes
too.
Over the map for
But-
Drakes. It looks like Brock
Less
will take this
impactful
time to back
than
this
what
cruises
Impact
on
and Tactical
to the
did.
Drake to set up some vision here. All of FlyQuest are present, even with Solo's teleport up here. His turret being close, or down, I should say. Close to down on the top side. He just gives that up for now.
Yeah, I think they're gonna.
So now they're just really in the lead, and it doesn't even matter
to keep Impact on top
what
side.
TL
There's no
wanna
use
do,
also
'cause
having
they just can't
teleport
do
down
anything.
here. Solo's level 11.
They have
He's
to
a
give
bigger Impact
the dragon.
on the team
fine.
fight, so yeah, you just give it up. You don't want to waste any extra cooldowns. Any summoners going for that. Like the call.
Impact is getting some chip damage on the
Once
tower.
more.
He finally gets some time on the enemy half of the map.
Doesn't
Rift.
even matter,
We track,
but
we We checked forward percentages for
That's true.
all
He's
laners
still
and stuff,
down
which is
30
your
CS, which
time
is pretty
spent
bad.
in the first
30 CS and a
15 minutes
kill.
across the halfway point.
Um,
Impact has had
the
very,
third
very
dragon is going to
little,
be the
almost
big,
none, except for the early part where he died this game. So
going to be the big
this is his first time getting up
point
to
in
that
this
point,
match.
and we just crested 15 minutes, so won't even count as stats. Team Liquid, though, they will get the bottom turret for themselves.
But I think that even by third dragon, with the way that Kennen is going right now, I don't think he's even going to have one item. I don't think he has one item at that point, which is really, really sad. Maybe he does.
Really low already, and mid lane turret was about to fall. So FLYQuest have
We can only hope.
standing gold. That's
But he's
about
heavily
to go
stunted, and
over.
now Kennen is his effectiveness is always going to be diminished.
That player cam. So focused.
Aha, the drone! I hate drones. Turtle's able to scout out. Hey, I'm pretty sure they're looking to dive me here. They've got Bard.
Wait, I didn't even hold on.
Yeah,
So because of the way,
like the call.
it didn't even like register. Wait,
Lightning rush.
All laners and stuff, which is your time spent in the first 15 minutes across the halfway.
oh, they just gave tactical first tower.
Little, almost
What?
none, except for the
Why?
half of the
So they reset off of dragon. So wait, they reset and go back to dragon, and then reset away.
Back on top side. There's no use in actually having him teleport down here. Solo's level 11. He's a bigger impact on the team fight, so
Solo's teleport.
could have answered back. There was a he could go take their blue side, but Santorin actually goes for the recall.
Oh, Wild Turtle never got a reset.
Want him to go play
He actually had
with
to stay
Solo.
this entire
Solo just
time.
Smashing impact here, bullying him back between the two turrets, and there was a whole blue side jungle there. You can see Broxa is stealing away Santorin's blue side jungle, but Santorin went for the recall. Maybe he got a
Cruise is on back to the dragon.
keep impact on top side. There's no use in actually having him teleport down here. Solo's level 11. He's a bigger impact.
Swing. Lightning rush and swing more.
Wild Turtle's been trying to leave for a very long time. I actually don't necessarily think he needs to, but he doesn't. His team just like moved away from him. So Ignar resets into a reset.
Extra cooldowns, any summoners going for that.
Gets dragon,
Like the call.
puts down some wards, I guess. Yeah, he puts down a few wards.
Yeah, I think they're gonna burn it here. Team Liquid should probably just make the call to keep
Actually,
impact on
you can't
top
tell.
side. Impact.
Okay.
Lightning rush and swing more.
Then he resets again.
He finally gets some time on the enemy half of the map.
I suppose to be
And
fair,
we
there's
check,
nothing.
we check forward
What can you even do at this point?
That's
all
true.
laners and stuff, which is your time spent in the first 15 minutes across the halfway point. Impact has had very, very little, almost.
If Wild Turtle was actually allowed to reset, maybe this doesn't happen.
This is his first
In fact,
time
I know this
getting
doesn't happen.
up to that point, and we just crested 15 minutes, so won't even count as stats. Team
But
Liquid,
also,
though,
hold on.
will get
Okay, why did so Renekton came down? He actually walked down from the from. That doesn't make any sense. Not helpful at all. Okay, so what if Solo doesn't? Okay, so he actually resets and then walks to the dragon. What actually happened? So what if? I mean, see that being fine.
at least, where he could
It gives a lot of space for Kennen. That doesn't really make sense to do that.
20 seconds onto Ocean.
You can keep him down even longer, but fine. Yeah, I don't think Renekton needs to do this. I'm not sure what he's saving. There's no way they can test this. I actually don't think that he needs to be down here.
Or down, I should say. Close to down on the top side. He just gives that up for now.
Yeah, I think they're going to burn it here. Team Liquid should probably just make the call to keep Impact on top side. There's no use in actually having him teleport down here. Solo's level 11. He's a bigger impact on the team fight. So, yeah, you just give it up. You don't want to waste any extra cooldowns, any summoners going for that. Like the call.
Couldn't
Sweet.
FlyQuest
Lightning rush and
have
slow
kept
mo.
Orianna bottom?
He finally gets some
Renekton
time.
goes
Only
mid,
half of the map, Riv.
Yeah.
We track,
or
we track forward
or
percentages
Santorin
for,
goes mid.
for
That's
all
true.
laners, and
Takes what he
sometimes
can as the
their
wave
time
gets pushed
spent
into
in the
him.
first 15 minutes
Doesn't
across
really care about
the
taking
late
damage
point.
because he's not going to die to Zoe.
Impact has had
And then
very,
Renekton
very
just
little,
walks back up.
almost none, except for the early
And then you
part
don't
when he
lose
died this
bottom.
game,
You don't
so
lose bottom tier
this is
1
his first time
because
up
Orianna
to
is
the
holding
point,
it.
and we just crested 15 minutes, so
I guess there's danger. There's danger because of they don't really have. No, because Ignar should be. No, no. This is fine. I think that you could have Orianna switch bottom, Santorin, hold mid, Renekton go back top, Ashe reset back to mid lane. Now Orianna is set in the mid lane,
Player cam.
or set bottom, because now this is just really awkward.
I hate drones. Turtle's able to scout out. Hey,
And you don't lose bottom tier 1.
Love hog shot, don't you?
Yeah,
You now have Ashe
it's
and
really-
Rakan
that's
in
just really-
their
that is my
assigned
most hated
lanes.
ability in the game as a jungler.
You
Definitely a pet peeve, but
Orianna
both
should be
JJ
safe
and Broxah,
on
you know,
tier
both of
1.
them can turn towers off, so Turtle knows he is a big target. No
Couldn't they
flash
dive?
Ashe, there's just no
They might be
assist
able to
on this
dive,
side.
Ori.
He can easily
Maybe that's the
lock him
problem.
down, easily turn off all the defenses. So very good intelligence.
She doesn't
play
get
there.
the she
Then
doesn't
just
get blue buff.
scout it
She doesn't
out
get enemy
and
blue
kind
buff
of make sure Team
with that
Liquid
play.
are unable to make anything on this side of the map. Wow, FlyQuest did, as we are alluding to, get that top turret.
Yep. And Turtle.
But I mean, Wild Turtle not getting to reset was a big problem
Nice
initially
battle
too.
Dance in there. Ignar flexing a bit as he comes through. I like it.
Yeah, definitely one of the intimidating battle dances. Just trying to scare him off.
And also,
Get away from
that
me,
line
evil.
of thinking that I just had
swing my cape
may
Yeah,
be unnecessarily convoluted
he
for.
picks up the trouble bubble. He's like, "Let me clean that away,
I-
sir. I will fall asleep."
I'm just trying to think, like,
Nice little
you're the winning team.
the other
Why
side.
are you?
Very
How are you
arrow
losing
hits
out
home
on?
famous the ult.
Boom! Smashing him into the
I feel like
river.
Wild Turtle
Using
should
some
not be
wet
using that
socks. Nobody likes
as
that.
willy-nilly as he is.
You know, it's just enough to take yourself out.
Like,
of
there's
the
no
game.
reason
Gets
to
him
actually try to
down,
hit
he'll be back in 30
across a
seconds.
lane
And it looks like
when you
FlyQuest gaining a bit
have
of
people
ground
coming
on
in
the
that
bot
can
side.
lock
Solo's
people
gonna
down for
pressure
extended
forward,
periods
be
of
a bit
time.
of a sentry here as the wards
You can
aren't
just
there
lay your
just yet.
CC rather than.
Tactical may not be there either. Oh no, it's
Oh.
flashing. It's gonna be the call, Meek. Coming
Okay.
in from Solo
There's
as
there's
he
TP.
slices and dices Tactical down.
Yeah, there's
Solo
cannon.
down everywhere. So are two members of TL. I like that. Unreal Tournament coach.
Yeah, that's what I keep thinking of with Solo here. Like,
I mean, they're getting kills. They're getting towers.
He just keeps on smashing
They're actually getting
people.
3
Oh my
towers to
goodness.
1 tower.
But
But I feel like they
another
could have
one.
done this. This
is
sequence of
every
events
game
happens regardless of
Solo,
whether
honestly. He's
tier 1
absolutely
bot goes
dominating
down.
from start to finish. After that kill onto Impact,
I think.
all by
Maybe I'm wrong.
himself with the enemy jungle
Maybe I'm wrong.
dry brush, he
And I'm just trying to be cute for no
just
reason.
grew this
I think that's
chase.
probably
He took
that's
the
probably
top.
actually accurate. I'm trying to just be
Stepping
cute
in
for no
the rest
reason.
of the team here. He teleports down, which is the reason TL have to abort basically this fight. And Santorin able to
Okay,
hit the
Temper
ult
Fate
on
doesn't
Jensen.
matter.
He
Core
gets
JJ
the
shouldn't
slow there
try to
as
walk
well
in
with
there.
Meek. And then Solo does not give up on the play. He is juiced after this. I believe he's going to slice and dice off the Krugs. No, he doesn't even have to. He just charges it up, chases him down with the flash. Core JJ had done everything he possibly could to try and save Tactical. You know that.
Well, now
last
TL
second
doesn't even
guard stun and
get to be in their
Tactical getting out,
jungle
but
safely.
Solo means surprise. There's a magic crocodile at the end of your magic journey.
And that was last pick, right? We were thinking, oh, set top, and they're gonna fill something else in.
Yeah.
And they're like, nah,
And somehow
we're
they,
gonna
I mean, they get the
Core JJ
They
had
go
done
from replay
everything he
to,
possibly could to try and save Tactical with that last second
to this. I'm not entirely sure. I would assume it's because FlyQuest just reset away
means surprise. There's
and
a magic
then
crocodile
he'll
at the end of your magic
move
journey.
straight to Rift
And
Herald.
that was last pick, right? We were thinking, oh, set top, and they're gonna fill something else in, and they're like, nah, Renekton. We are gonna bully the crap out of Kennen, and that is exactly what happened from moment one, pushing him behind his own turret. FlyQuest gaining a bit of a lead. 3.
So here, oh, there's the Iceborne that I was talking about. The extra utility. He does value the extra utility, and I think you have to go for the extra utility because it allows you to
third game previously we just watched.
It doesn't do more damage, but allows you to kite more effectively.
More than ever
Which
here.
probably means that you can carry
We've got a Team Liquid Cloud9
more.
matchup right in the rest of the weekend.
And even the
on
extra
the road
utility
here. If
allows
Team
for
Liquid
your teammates
lose
to actually
this,
function
it definitely brings a little
more
bit
effectively.
of the excitement out of the matchup. We're like, all right, fighting for first place. Oh wait, yeah, Team Liquid lost.
But I mean, Kennen is very stunted,
Okay.
so he doesn't he doesn't even want the
showing up. This would be such a big
spike,
showing for them as
the
they
power
have had
spike from
a big slide in the
Triforce.
standings recently and been under a lot of criticism for several of the plays, but really strong this time
See,
around.
now
This
TL
is
is a
the
team
third
that
Dragon. If Team
are
Liquid
very,
keep up
very
this play,
risk averse.
then it
The
is going to be
LCS
setting
is
up sole point for
very
FLYQuest, looking for a
questionable
takeover.
whether they
Keep
actually go for this play.
ready.
Keeping eyes on Broxus. And
Yeah, I don't think
Solo as
they.
well. He's trying to get Impact. Impact can get himself in a little bit closer with the Proto belt. Also trying to keep track on where the ball is.
So they do lose, thanks to the Rich Herald, they do lose quite a bit of damage on tier 2 mid, but it's definitely worth it for Soul Point.
They are playing these situations so well to not be caught in any mistake.
Okay, so then they transition top side so that they do not lose out vision on their red, because that's the next primary objective that TL might be looking for.
Impact. No teleport available for him, no flash available, so you don't get any of those surprise plays. But I just wanted to point out that he went for a Death Dance second. I love it. He's taken over the game. He wants to be a 1v9 carry.
Okay. Solo is very, 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 very strong.
Obviously, when you charge up your rage with Q, so yeah, you can play off those sustained fights and try and get into the thick of things. He'll be shredding armor.
Okay, so what do you do now as Team Liquid?
You're
You're down about 3k.
Drain tanking, lifesteal tanking.
Your mid-game
So
champion
is
is now.
get kind of fed like that.
That plan's out of the window. Volibear is effectively not useful because you're never diving in a losing position. You're really just down to 2 champions worth of effectiveness. And for the record, this is the same line that would have happened in the reverse.
Like you said, we're gonna harass Zach. Sweet.
I actually think that there's more that TL can do in this point than if the gold was reversed, if the dragon amount was reversed on these teams.
The moment one they needed to do something to TL
because then it's like, oh, I have weak Renekton, past mid game, isn't gonna spike. I have pretty much worthless set. I need Orianna and Ashe to hard carry the game. But there are more tools to help the 2 primary carries on TL than there are for FlyQuest. So if the roles were reversed, it would actually be worse off for FlyQuest. I think.
It is necessary for them. If not, then they are facing, like we talked about in Select, the classic combo.
I was gonna say they're not doing it.
Ezreal and Zoe. Whenever you have that range advantage on your team over the enemy carries, it makes them engage on
Why?
You. Okay. It puts the burden.
Every time I see that, I just think
the lower range carries basically.
I mean, they probably do get a kill if they hit an arrow, but it's going completely blind. They can't see into this entire area.
Santorin can try and flank. It's just FlyQuest have a lot of options here. So the fact that they're ahead and they're taking away all this vision makes Team Liquid have to respect them, have to respect all these different engage opportunities that they do have to get back to the
because of the way that FlyQuest work, their composition, they can't just go to Baron and take it. There's a lot of tools for TL to check.
And that's why they don't want to throw anything away. They'll just wait for
and because of the geometry of the map, they're benefited by them being on blue side and having this area into the Baron. So they can actually set up defenses around here because in order for FlyQuest to actually grab the Baron, they would have to all be on like down here on bottom red side for some reason, or they go
So now the
or
farming
they
will
have
happen.
perfect
We will
vision
still
of
continue to
their
discuss how that farming
of
happens and how much farming's
EL's
getting.
blue side,
Zanya's finally picked up
which is
by
very difficult to
Impact.
do
We
because
see
of
a lot of different
Zoe and
Kens
Ezreal.
being played. This one's
Mostly
my
Zoe.
favorite. The flash over the wall.
Okay,
The
so a
drive
minute
flank
before the
Kennen.
mountain,
Played a
I
little bit of King
assume
out
TL
of
are
the
not even
fight
going to
and
bother to
sticking with
contest.
somebody.
I
It's
assume I'm not
always
even going to
fun,
see a fight.
especially when you're ahead. But I like
They
this one no
might
matter
fight
what. You
after.
can still have a bit
I'm,
of an impact from behind, even if you.
I don't
aren't
actually remember what
building up.
happens this
You're
game.
setting up fights for your team. So let's see if Impact can find those.
For Team
And the
Liquid,
win-
like
Yeah.
this has to be him, and this has to be their team fight. If he does not get a good flank, if he's not able to avoid Santorin using his ult to dunk him back out of the team fight, Team Liquid's plan here is going to.
Oh no!
Oh,
That
Okay,
wasn't the
no
team
one can
fight
hit an
just
arrow.
yet.
It's
The
fine.
flash is down, and that's one of the biggest initiations for Ken. And otherwise, you're just walking straight in, and the enemy sees it coming.
Okay,
True
so
shot
13
barrage
seconds,
is
12
not really
seconds,
gonna
10
hurt too
seconds
much. Maybe
until
get that health back
the
quite quickly.
dragon
Look
is
at the
up,
Rune King as we set up
and
for
question
the
of
Drake.
RTL
This is
actually going to
so
go.
for
They really
FLYQuest. True shot
can't because of
barrage is down.
Impact,
Cannon
unless
is
he
down, so
backs and then
Maelstrom is still up for
teleports.
Impact
Yeah,
on
he
the
backed
side
and
of TL.
teleported.
He's zoomed
Okay.
in. He has teleported
He's
to
going
try
to
and find
flank.
better positioning here, and there are no
That's the
wards
choice.
on the flank, Kobe. He could be able to get in here once Lightning rushes up. He will be attacking. I think he's in
They
the
have
right
to
side
know
for
that this
us.
is
TL's just
possible.
waiting. They're pushing
So they're actually
into
kiting
where
upward,
Impact
which
would
is
be
bad.
currently. And it looks like they're going to
Yeah.
off this one. He's right in the brush. He gets power
Okay,
reveal
does it
first.
matter though?
Gonna
Does
go
it
with
matter?
fast goal, and they're not gonna hit
Let's
it as
see.
Ignar gets back to
Doesn't matter.
defend. And now it's the face breaker coming in from Santorin to try and stop TL in their tracks.
Solo's doing so much.
As he just cleans up the rest of Team Liquid on the other side of the fight. That's
I don't think he
coming up
actually
with a big
reaches.
one. And not even with a huge
Oh, he does.
flank can TL find
And
a way
Q.
through
Oh.
the thick skin of FLYQuest.
oh my goodness, Solo keeps.
So the mountain actually makes this really, really difficult. By the way, it would have again. It would have. If it's the reverse, it makes it just as difficult for FlyQuest, or just as even more difficult. Because of the extra shielding and extra armor that you get from the two mountains, you are much less susceptible to being poked. You're much less susceptible to being one-shot by the cannon, or in reverse, the Renekton. So, okay. Jensen actually, does he have Spellbook? He might have had Spellbooks. He might have actually had triple might on TL.
Other cooldowns to use though. So Impact, he goes in. Everybody looks for Power of Evil, but Broxah gets chunked out to the other
Ignore
side.
or Impact actually only had one person in his Maelstrom.
Chases down the rest of them. Solo
I mean, there just
flashes in,
isn't anything they can
fills
really
up the
do. I
extra
mean, this is a
space,
very
goes
scattered
on the
fight.
outside
There's
on
really
Zoe,
nothing
able to do
that can be
anything.
done.
If your team's not able to land some Sleepy Trouble Bubble or Zoe Poke to start out the team fight, then they're just not going to have enough of an advantage.
There might have.
This
Hold on.
FlyQuest team.
I don't normally tend to care too much about individual
Opportunity, this is the
play,
only
but
chance we've got.
the only reason being that I'm more interested in what the thought is going into something, so the decision-making process of a team, rather than, you know, if Impact manages to go down, actually catches these guys. I don't even know if they necessarily have vision of this area. Let's actually look. He gets Power of Evil.
So Impact.
Wait, does he not have Maelstrom? Did I just miss something? That was his Maelstrom. Hold on, I want to go back to the replay. Okay. So he has the Maelstrom. He has Slicing Maelstrom. Okay. He puts down a control ward, so he knows that he's not seen. Power of Evil walks into him for no reason.
They don't have a lot of other cooldowns to use.
Okay, yeah. So I think that's just a graphical replay bug. So Impact does what he does, only on Power of Evil. The fight gets scattered. Solo's actually fairly far away from the fight. But the second that he gets in, it becomes very problematic, because now they're just completely corralled and there's no exit strategy for TL.
He goes in. Everybody looks for Power of Evil, but Broxah gets chunked out to the other side. Then Santorin flashes in to get some.
Which actually is one of those things where if you're jumping into Renekton set Rakan, they actually
Jensen was
are
on the
completely
outside on
fine with it
Zoe, unable to
because
do anything.
now you've done half their job for them.
Team's not able to land some sleepy trouble bubble or Zoe poke to start out the team fight, then they're just not gonna
I was wondering
have,
if
enough
Impact might have been able
be
to
take down this FlyQuest team. Now with
catch more
mounted
people with Zalt,
soul,
but it was very scattered.
extra
It
shield
would have been
armor
difficult.
on top of themselves for FlyQuest, they have a very easy.
I mean, this is
Baron
now
setup on top of them.
very, as Gobi's saying, a very easy time finishing out this game.
Understanding that he and Power of Evil are quite powerful factors here, and he did not exit with the team down that same corridor. If he did, Impact would have had that that ended the fight easy.
Yeah, that's one of the main things when you're looking at a very narrow win condition for your opponents. They're like, okay, so the only way they win is if Impact gets an ult onto our carries, right? All right,
Exactly.
Wild Turtle, Power of Evil, just split up. Basically, every carry for himself. You go one side, you go the other side. You can only grab one of us. And Power of Evil.
They didn't actually end up getting Baron,
He's the tankier of the carries,
so
yeah.
I guess that's positive. Not really, because there's just no way that FlyQuest can lose this game, basically.
Really well positioned to keep themselves on top. A 5,000 gold lead now over Team Liquid here in their rematch in Week 7. And we said that, you know, FlyQuest was hoping they would start better.
I mean, they're still able to keep their side in control, which does prevent FlyQuest from just taking this, but I guess they're just going to start it. Maybe it doesn't prevent them. They're going to stop. Maybe they don't, because they actually are pretty comfortable. Yeah, I think they just take it. They either force the issue or take it.
They're forcing it. The bubble does miss. I think they're just going to have to
stop taking it. Okay. I'm not sure.
So good little
not sure what the exact logic is.
This is the first time they've really had solo quite low to start the fight.
It wasn't even like this play several seconds long. It's not as if they didn't notice that people were funneling into them. They just they didn't care for a little bit, and then they started caring after a bit. Like they forgot what they were up against.
Just go right back into Baron, tank it up with the shield. They're not going to sustain a lot of damage. It's down to 4,000 health. Brox's got to get in there for the steal. One way. Nope.
I don't think it's going to work. The timing.
Okay, so why did this work the second time? What did TLD even do differently? TL just like stopped caring. By the way.
Encroach a few more forward into the jungle of Team Liquid. And now it's an attempt.
Yeah, TL just left and stopped caring.
Poking around. Pull off the.
Yeah, they just left and stopped caring. Yeah, fair enough.
Around these objectives here. The wards, however, are dwindling as FlyQuest start to encroach a few more forward into the jungle.
I mean, at this point, there's.
Now it's an attempt.
It's extremely the.
Basically waiting. It's shields up.
I don't think there's actually really any way for TL to win.
Tank it up with the shield. They're not going to sustain a lot of damage. It's down to 4,000 health. Brox has got to get in there for the steal. One way. Nope.
I don't think it's going to work. The timing of what happened for TL to buy, the Blade of the Rune King coming in. Tactical tried to get back in time with.
I'm not sure what Tactical.
Just playing within these windows.
Need the blade? Okay.
Perfectly. FlyQuest gets hit in the face. It's going to be an arcane shift in to that Quicksilver Sash, which keeps him alive. Poor JJ journeys forward. And
so now they have Baron. They're probably just going to run down.
On that mid lane push.
Mid lane.
Create a bit of a wall, and it looks like TL will not.
I'm actually not entirely sure what their item values are, but they should probably fix top lane. They should probably fix bottom lane on this reset.
To deal with the minion waves that are buffed up by Baron buff right now, Team Liquid are in full defense mode. They still have to be telling themselves, okay, we have to farm, we have to.
I actually want to know. Hold on. Because they get Baron.
What happened for TL to buy the Blade of the Rune King coming in? Tactical
TL was on them, so it was fairly difficult for them to just reset.
These windows perfectly. FlyQuest gets hit in the face. It's going to be an arcane shift in to that Quicksilver Sash.
They could have reset. They could have reset. It was fine. They could have reset or fixed. Solo could have still fixed this.
Still trying to create a bit of a wall, and it looks like TL will not be able to get the inside track on mid lane damage here for FlyQuest.
This is fine too, because they can just go back and fix the and bring the side lanes up. Or Solo can just stay on the map and bring the side lane up.
we
Probably
have
can't
to
actually stay on the map
farm,
if he
we
has
have
no
to keep playing
teammates, but
defensive under our towers.
um,
At least for them,
does he choose
there's
to?
nothing on the
He
map
chooses
for
to stay.
another minute and 45 seconds till Elder Dragon comes. So you've got another
Might be a little greedy
minute and
because
a
there's
half
literally
basically
just
here
no one on
to
him.
try and continue farming
So yeah,
for
he's fine.
Zoe and
He
Ezreal,
recognizes that he's
and you're
kind of
just
some danger, so he leaves.
hoping
Fair
that
enough.
FlyQuest are going to have one of those
Okay, but now
moments
there's going to be
and
kind of
be able to keep up.
unequal
But you do
pushing.
have range to try and fall back on later into the
Santorin,
game with the
for some
Ezreal
reason,
and
is the
the
one
Zoe,
who's
if
getting
they're able to get more items, more
bottom.
firepower behind them, so that the poke actually hurts. But FlyQuest feeling so good now with this Baron buff. They should be able to do real damage to the base.
Power of Evil, does he know that he's allowed to go farm bottom?
If they do enough damage, it will be free.
That's really weird.
And they've had
It should be the
such
other way,
effective control across the map this game. Just really
where
efficient,
Santorin is
competitive
mid
zone, each
and
movement,
Power of Evil is
finding
bottom.
how to create pressure, and a lot of it coming right from solo on the top side of the map. It drew Broxa a few times, allowed the other lanes to be safe, play safe, scale up. That's what we've been seeing as well from the bot side, and it benefited Turtle to just be able to get this big.
Fine. I'm not sure what Solo's waiting for here,
good, not changing it.
because they should generally know that TL are around this area. So Solo should be free to do whatever he wants top side, like that. It kind of looks like that.
And you get the extra card when it comes to the epic objective trade. So they're keeping Solo in the 1v1 on top side. Should be able to get that tower just by.
And Jordan is still bottom, farming.
And threatening impact.
Solo isn't really in danger.
Journey, possible pincer movement there, but was scouted out, so no damage actually going to go through. And what they're doing here is, because it's a Blade of the Ruined King Ashe, Turtle should be able to solo that Elder Dragon. And with the Baron buff, keeping up pressure, Solo's just going to beat him down, send him back to base riv.
He would have been dead if he threw Dominus on.
All right, and then they just go backwards, get the Elder by just all Turtle soloing Elder. Okay, fair enough.
Which is already happening for Turtle. And that is going to be
pretty easy.
Solo Elder. The control that FlyQuest has over this game is the control we remember from FlyQuest.
Actually, potentially could have lost that.
Yeah.
If that was a better time true shot, but it doesn't really matter.
So if you're the only one tanking it there, you do a lot less damage to it. Elder Dragon has no such thing, so you can just send an AD.
So now they are.
The Ruined King, percentage damage.
Like Solo can still push up. He can still kill that tower. I don't know why he transitioned mid.
Should be able to take it down.
Doesn't really make sense.
Arrow away, fire at will, Turtle.
Because I mean, mid lane
so no double ults happen to him in Power of Evil.
Should be pushing in their favor anyway.
Thanks, guys.
Or they could just meet back up in mid.
They're not really afraid of too much here, as they have all members of Team Liquid in their eyes, and that's going to be inhib number 1 down. Arrow goes out. Jensen's able to cleanse that right away.
Plus, he's just as far away from the fight as he was if he killed top
Honestly, good disengage
top tier 2. So I'm not sure what the logic is. Like, this happens regardless. He kills top tier 2, and if he wants to, he can come in and then bring the wave forward and then do this and then just kill them like that.
Ignar tries to get the pop up, and he's going to dash back before that can happen.
He didn't actually. Oh, they did kill him.
Beautiful job here by FlyQuest. In and out,
for some reason, I thought that Tactical didn't die.
Worry or get flustered if Liquid tries to engage or balk and engage.
Yeah, this could have been slightly. This could have been slightly cleaner. Solo just pushes top tower, but I guess it doesn't really matter.
To work with here.
No, he doesn't even teleport top. He just teleports.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
They don't have Baron anymore, but they might just be able to take towers anyway.
Nexus turret goes down, and TL is just getting strangled out of their own base here. They're watching their Nexus turrets go down. They can't even do
and then it's
anything about
just.
it because of how
I mean, there's no resistance.
has become in this game. The fish are right, Kobe. The fish are right. The Nexus goes down. FlyQuest takes the win, and they'll move on to 7-6 as they take down Team Liquid.
Okay, so this game came down to basically Impact's play very early on, which prevented TL from playing at all around the top side because Renekton was just too strong. And then the play bottom that Tactical made, which cost him teleport, And then look at that again. If we actually look at that play again, it was very early on in the game. Very, very early.
The rest of FlyQuest
So Ezreal has to teleport to this when he doesn't necessarily need to.
Double attack towards the bot side. FlyQuest make it out here, and
He might have actually just done it anyway.
Exactly what I was
Like he
talking
might
about,
have just
Cody.
reset
A
into
slight
teleport
lead, and this is what it feels like
regardless.
in the top
So
lane
maybe it's not
against
actually that
somebody.
egregious.
Yep, and they saw the jungler bottom.
Timing
so
isn't
that's
great
why
though.
he's doing this, but
Not that big.
also
I guess
calling
it's not that
for
big of a deal.
here. They will be spotted
But this is hugely problematic for TL.
That was a big minion wave denied. Level 7 solo to
They pulled up core JJ, fight in the mid lane as well. As TL is trying
But
to repair.
FlyQuest could have done even more to impact this. Like Santorin doesn't actually need to babysit Solo.
JJ now is going to be roaming through the river, making
Solo doesn't actually need to proxy the wave. It was a choice he made.
Impact's a little safer. Kobe, you were saying this was Brox's job. Now it's becoming a team job.
And I feel like there was a lot of time where Santorin could have grabbed the dragon away. Because there's no way that Broxa thinks he can take it.
And for mid lane used now for Team Liquid to be able to get their good purchases off. Tactical.
He might get it off. He might reset off of this red buff. Yeah, and then he's gonna go down.
Play the PvE.
Just watch this again.
Continually charge up the tier. Ezreal, so much of this matchup with Ashe is, just trying to play that long.
I mean, just that impact play alone. And I don't even like calling it an impact play. I initially blamed Broxa for it, and I still think it's probably on him. I'm not entirely sure what the communication was on that, but regardless,
that sounds great. I'll grab a call. It's just
when you have
all this money and then use it all
that situation happen, now you're just behind. You can't rely on Kennen teleport. Can't rely on Kennen being able to do something in the mid game and transitioning from not necessarily preparing for dragons or not wanting to go for dragons.
Like they do with Solo.
Yep.
It's not like,
But how did this dragon even come about?
Basically another objective onto Team Liquid and then go down and help.
Core JJ doesn't look like
right.
So he could build
Core JJ got hit with the arrow.
And force basically another
interesting.
Onto Team Liquid and
it's very possible that if the couple of mistakes didn't happen bottom, so Tactical doesn't E forward and Core JJ doesn't get hit with this arrow, because he could have flashed, that TL can still recuperate. They can still come back into this game because, I mean, FlyQuest just were refusing to.
And then go down and help. Or,
they couldn't set up a play for Dragon except for doing this.
Damage onto Core JJ doesn't look like he's gonna make. We'll start that up.
Perfect opportunity there. He's looking for the Ashe arrow constantly.
Okay.
They pull him back, and that's gonna be Dragon.
And in fact, this could have been even worse because this play actually goes pretty decently for TL.
Uh-oh. Trying to get down to the bot lane a little bit. TL answers.
The game actually comes closer.
Nice there, but of time between the Rakan knockup and the shockwave.
And now the game is very close, right? The big disparity is only top lane.
Bounty for himself, and he gets to play safe. Tactical always pushing himself to the limit, and as Jat would say, not even happy with the 100 lane 2 kills. No.
But because of the top lane issues, this becomes available fairly freely for FlyQuest. So there is an avenue for even more gold to come around for TL. FlyQuest didn't even play this perfectly, not even close. But they were able to just basically strangle TL off of the one play at like 3 minutes.
I always like mid lane, but the best usage of it is obviously to try
This
and
is very
force
strange to
down
think
a
about.
turret. Basically, you go gank an area like top lane, and either you kill impact or you force summoners and do damage and force him off the turret. And then in your armor, and then you also
Now we're 2 minutes in.
Now, and I'm
They
the map to be
and then
available
they
for
actually
wherever
shy
they're
away
close.
from
You
using
can't just go back to
the
tactical
Bard
and
ultimate. So that's
completely
there's like
niche your
individual
position.
mistakes
You
that
take
didn't
that
need to
turret
happen
stop Herald.
that
So
led
I like
to
seeing him kind of mill about not being in the spot so he can really
them
make
slowly
use of that.
losing out.
Find Santorin as you let Bard through.
Because
You
then they
have
do this, and then they go
early here.
for
Finds
Bard
a bit of a
ultimate, and it's
speed
like, oh
up.
well, Bard ultimate's
And then
down,
Fate
so just summon the
flash
Rift Herald.
wrecked. And it's going to be both summoners down here for Turtle as he stays safe at turret.
that was
Jensen
separate
back
fate.
to FlyQuest taking what they can get here, knowing that
Now they're 1k up.
and FlyQuest
Their blue side between the two or something. He was waiting.
and Drake at the game showing us
Plates are
what
gone.
takes over the map for Drake's.
Dragon is about to spawn.
Looks like Broxer will take this time to close it down. on
They
the top
transition
side.
all the
Just
way.
up for now.
They transition
Yeah, I think
everyone
they're
down.
doing it here.
They
Teammates
didn't
was
even
probably
necessarily
call,
protect
just
their
keeping
bottom
them
tower,
on
and
the
as
side.
well, Ash
There's no
did not get a
reason that
reset
they
this
have a
entire
full
time.
court down here. Solo's level
She
11. He's a
may.
bigger impact.
Maybe I'm wrong about that. No way. Nope, I'm right. 100% she. Yeah, 100% Ash. Probably at this point can buy Berserker Greaves and Blade of the Ruin King, which is a huge, huge spike
Enemy half of the map
from
here.
where she's at.
We track forward percentages for
So they grab.
all the and stuff, which is your time spent in the first.
I mean, it's
10
actually
seconds
pretty even,
across
right?
the halfway point.
It's not that bad
Does
right
have
now. Look at the gold lead.
very little, almost
It
none,
is not
except
that
for the
bad.
early part where he died
Where
in
does it
this game,
become
so
unbearable?
it's some money. And mid lane turret was about to fall.
Eh.
So FlyQuest have a lot of standing gold that's about to knock over, which Sturtle's able to scout out. Hey, I'm pretty sure they're looking to die. Core JJ can easily lock him to making
Dissonance comes out.
get away from Power of Evil.
Because as TL, you have to think about,
Yeah, and he
you know,
just
could we have actually done
beats
something?
up the trouble bubble.
Were we actually so far behind? And yes, for sure,
And
it's here.
you know, it's just enough to take yourself out of the game. Jensen's down. He'll be back in 30 seconds.
This is the big.
FlyQuest gaining a bit of ground here on the bot side.
This is the big
Solo's
problem.
gonna pressure forward.
Because this play doesn't even need to happen. I have no idea what they're going for. What does TL want?
And nice little move to the other side. Turtle does miss the arrow, but Santorin.
They think that they're in a desperate situation. They think they're actually in a really bad situation. So they're going for a desperate play on TP to Wild Turtle. When in reality, they're not actually that far off. And they can trend, and based on the position of Solo and Wild Turtle, they can just go get Rift Herald. They actually even eventually do get Rift Herald. So they literally didn't need to do this at all. This didn't need to happen whatsoever. And the exact same sequence plays itself out that it does later on. They just give extra gold for no reason.
Boom!
I understand the logic, right? Obviously, they didn't think, oh, well, we're just going to lose the fight when it breaks out. But
enough to take yourself out of the game. Jensen's down. He'll be back in 30 seconds. And it looks like FlyQuest gained go down.
He's playing from start.
Okay, and then they just lose 3 towers in a row, basically. So they lose. How many kills do they give? 2?
Either. Oh no! Flash and it's gonna
They
be
give
a
2 kills away.
Yeah,
And they lose 2 more towers on this one sequence.
He's playing like Scorpion.
When they could have been defending their towers or grabbing
this has been the game
the Rift Herald at this time.
Solo. In for the rest with surprise, there's a magic crocodile at the end of your magic journey.
Exactly what happened from moment 1 to week 7 at 6-6. We talked about EG moving up in there.
Liquid Cloud 9. The matchup, we're like, oh, they have had up soul point for FlyQuest. Impact's looking for.
They weren't really willing to pull the trigger on this either.
Keeping eyes on Broxa, Santorin, and Solo as well.
Mostly because at this point, I mean, they're just so far behind because of what they've given. So it just becomes impossible. So genuinely, I think that if TL are more willing to I don't know. Because it's hard for them to know that they're actually not super far behind. And in fact, in that exact position, let's think about what they were going for, right? Think about what they had at that moment. So this is what they had, right? Yeah, they could have waited for the Muramana to be for the Mana Moon to upgrade into Muramana. They should have gone for Rift Herald instead of this play because you know that Solo's on this side of the map, and you knew that Wild Turtle was on this side of the map. That's what they were aiming for, I would assume. Oh no, Solo teleported to this. What am I talking about?
Boom!
What am I
Smash
talking
him
about?
into the
Intimidating a battle dancer, just trying to scare him off. Get away from Power of Evil.
So they made
I
this
swing
play
my
happen.
cape at you.
Yeah, and he swings it. He sweeps up
But they were in position. They were perfectly in position to grab to go for it. They had the vision set up for the Herald.
the trouble bubble. He's like, "Let me clean that away, sir. I will fall asleep." And nice little move to the other side. Turtle does miss the arrow, but Santorin can't miss the ult.
Very iffy.
Smashing him into the river, giving Jensen
It
some
reeks of
red shots.
desperation when I don't think they
Likes
were
that,
necessarily in
and,
a desperate
you know,
spot.
it's just enough to take yourself out of the game. Jensen's down. He'll be
For
back
sure,
in 30
Renekton is very,
seconds.
very strong.
And it looks like FLYQuest can get a bit of ground here on the bot side. Solo is going to pressure.
But I
forward
genuinely
here.
think that what you can do is you can play
Sentry here, so the
patiently
wards aren't there just yet.
and
Tactical may not
get
be
items
there
to
either.
accelerate
Oh, no,
past
and flashing. It's gonna
Renekton.
be the call, Meek, coming in from Solo as
Instead,
he
they play
swings,
right into
slices,
Renekton
and dices Tactical down.
and what he wants to do
Summoners down
when they know
everywhere.
that they're
So
actually
are two members
healing,
of TL. I
when
like
they feel that their top
Jungle
laner is
tournament. Okay.
behind.
Yeah, that's a
So, fun Rojo.